And hello everybody, it is Ramus181 here as usual. I mean, who did you expect it to be? Anyways, so in our last episode, we did a lot of digging. And we killed a wither. And we got a beacon, and I'm really excited about that. And now I need to make a storage system. So, in order to make a storage system, I'm going to need wood. And there's not a lot over here. So, I'm going to do things, the hard way. I'm going to make an automatic tree farm, so that I can get as much wood as I need for this project and for, all the things that I want to do afterwards. And of course, for that, I'm going to need a lot of bone meal, and there's not a lot of, super efficient ways of doing that, but I'm going to be able to do at least something with it. Let's get started on the bone meal farm first. That way, while I build up the tree farm, it can work away and get quite a collection, so that when we do have our tree farm, I'm not waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So let's get on that. Alright, so I've chosen this area over here. It's pretty close to one of the villages that I've got in the area here. And as you can see, over there is where my mega base is going to be located. And what I'm going to be doing here is building the bone meal farm that I'm going to need to run my tree farm. The design that I'm going to be using is one that I found by Shulkercraft on YouTube. I have got a link in the description down below to show exactly how to build this. It really doesn't take a lot here, just a few slime blocks and a few pistons and a few other things, and we can make this. So I'm just going to jump into a time lapse and get things ready for the tree farm. Alright then, let's get going. With a little bit of work and a few missteps and a little bit of frustration and a little bit of running back to my base so that I could get stuff that I completely forgot to put in my build chest over here, I got it done. I have a working bone meal farm. So, as I said earlier, this is a design that was created by Shulkercraft. It works really well, and Shulkercraft says that you should get about 1,000 bone meal per hour, if not more. The farm has been running for just over an hour now, so I'm just going to see what it seems to have output. But what I do have to point out is that first hour, a lot of those watermelon plants were just growing, so they didn't have a chance to produce at full volume here. But let's see what we got here. That's not bad for an hour. And there's more coming in, so That is a lovely sight watching that. Alright, so we now have a working bone meal farm. And that's really good because we're going to need it for the tree farm that I need to build. That's something that I'm going to build over here, right there. And it'll be close enough that this bone meal farm can keep running and keep providing more bone meal. And that's going to run over here. And so yeah, we're just going to create an automated tree farm right here. And I will jump into another time lapse and we'll get that built up for you. Heh, just kidding, guys. So, in order to make the tree farm that I was planning on making, I had put together a whole lot of materials, and that went great until I realized that I need a lot of slime blocks and a lot of honey blocks, and I don't have either of those. So, I know I need a slime farm, but I'm not going to do that for this project. Instead, I'm going to just go out and manually grind, because I've got a swamp really close by. But I do need honey. Lots and lots of honey. So, I went out and I collected a whole bunch of beehives. Apparently I need 8. And I'm going to create my first ever honey farm. I've never done that before. But I understand that you're supposed to do that in the nether or the end, where night and day cycles don't happen, so you can actually make honey faster. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my honey farm right by my gold farm. And that way when I AFK at the gold farm, my bees are busy producing honey. And since I tend to go there a lot, I should be able to get some pretty sweet, pun intended, pretty sweet honey going there. So why don't I put the materials together for that, and I will go over and start building that honey farm. So I've never actually made a honey farm before this, but I found a whole bunch of different tutorials on YouTube about how to properly make one, and then I found out how not to make one. I guess this design, it was created by a guy named Morezy. I'll put a link in the description. I modified it a little bit, but it does the job. And we've got 8 different beehives. I am making sure that I've got all the bees that I can get in there. And it's been running for about half an hour while I was up in my AFK spot grinding for XP. Aren't they cute? Those things are so adorable. I want a plushie. Anyways, so as I was saying, what I decided to do is create Morezy's bee farm here, but I also added on top a system to throw bottles back into the dispensers here, and that way I can just toss them in there, and they'll repopulate the dispensers here, so that I don't have to go and waste time individually putting them into the dispensers. So after half an hour or so, well, this looks like not too much, but I also ended up getting 10 honey blocks worth of honey. So I need like 40 more for the tree farm. So I figure just a couple of hours of sitting here and letting these guys do their thing, I'll have enough honey to be able to do what I need to do, and then I get to go and do the same thing. Well, I get to go and collect a whole bunch of slime so that I can make the slime blocks that I need. So I'm just going to let this run for a little bit, and I'm going to grab some slime blocks, and then it'll be time to head over to the tree farm. Okay, so I did a whole lot of grind, and I managed to get all the honey blocks that I need. And I went out over to my slime farm, and I spent hours hunting slimes so that I could get 40 blocks of slime and a whole bunch of sticky pistons. And that's where the slime blocks are supposed to be. And this is what I managed to collect. I couldn't find slimes anywhere. And, I spent like 8 different nights inside the swamp, and I managed to collect 5 slime balls. That's not going to cut it. So, it looks like I actually am going to have to make a slime farm in order to be able to make my tree farm. This is not going to plan. But you know what? That's just kind of how life is sometimes, I guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the slime farm that I've actually been planning for a couple of months now. You might have noticed that in the 4 corners of my build, I've got some spots marked off, and those are individual chunks that I've marked out. And the one over in this corner here that I've marked out turns out to be a slime chunk. So I'm going to build a very simple to start slime farm in this spot, and we're going to get that slime we need for the tree farm so that we can build the storage system that I want to build in here so that we can build the rest of this. I'm really going into a time lapse this time, guys, I promise. And we'll get this slime farm sorted out. So that was a design that I found from LogicalGeekBoy, and I will post a link to that down in the comments, as usual. I did some modifications, because his design required soul fires, or campfires, and I decided that I was just going to use magma blocks because, I had them available. And instead of putting hoppers underneath those magma blocks, I just did a water stream over into this corner here. By putting 2 chests down like this, it gives items just enough room to be able to be sucked into the hoppers, and that's all good. So the other thing that I learned while I was doing this is that my spawn rates suck. This looks like a fair amount for a little bit of time, but this is actually 2 days worth of spawns, and that's not good. I discovered that there is a huge amount of caves and caverns that I'm going to have to go and light up. But for now, this is going to do. This is going to help me build that tree farm that I have been so desperately wanting to build. So I am going to grab all of that, and I am going to head over to the location of the tree farm, and we're actually going to get finally started on that. So I'm going to see you over there. Okay, so I have a bone meal farm, and I have a slime farm way over there, and I have a honey farm up in the nether, and all of that was so that I could make all the ingredients that I needed for making my tree farm. And I have double and triple checked my list of ingredients that I'm going to need for making that tree farm, and as far as I can tell, everything's here. I am using a design that seems to be created by a guy named Dusty Dude. I'm going to post a video from him on how to build this down in the description, as you know, I've done with all the other videos. So all I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to jump into yet another time lapse, because those are so much fun. And I'm going to turn this thing on so that it's making some bone meal for me while I build, and we're going to get this tree farm up into the air right away. So let's see you on the other side. Isn't this thing beautiful? No, it isn't. It's an absolute monstrosity, but that's not why I made it. I made it to make trees. So, sorry, Dusty Dude. It's not pretty, but it'll do the job. I hope. If I did everything correctly, I sure hope I did. I tested each of the individual systems, as I was building it. I have yet to actually run this thing. I don't know for sure if it's going to work. I just gotta hope. So let's find out. Working. So it's not completely lossless on the saplings and things like that, but you know, it works well enough. There's a few things that I could probably do that'll improve things. But all in all, for just a couple of minutes of running that machine, and I've got, you know, 3 stacks in a little bit, I'd say that that was a resounding success. So all I have to do now is I have to make sure that I have enough bone meal. Let's just take a look in here. And that used a fair amount. So what I have to do next is run a line from my bone meal farm directly into that hopper line there. By doing that, I'll just have a continuous supply of bone meal for this, and it looks like I'll have a continuous supply of oak saplings as well, and I'll get all of these sticks and apples and things like that. So this thing, yeah, this thing's a resounding success. I love this thing. This is fantastic. So with this thing up and running, finally, I can finally get together all of the wood and everything that I need to be able to put together the storage system that I need over at my base there. So I think this is where I'm going to call it a day for now. I hope you guys are having fun, and I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. And if you enjoy this, hit the subscribe button down below and hit the like button on this video. It really helps me out, and let me know what you think in the comments. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.